Oh, hey fabulous firm owners, Claudia here. In this video, I'm going to share with you my secret strategy for scaling a law firm from 6 figures to 7 figures. So if you're a law firm owner who's been running your firm for a little while now, perhaps a year or two, maybe a bit more, you've grown the firm quite a bit and you're keen to grow it more, but you're at a point where you're feeling very overwhelmed. The joy and the spark and the enthusiasm that you had when you first started your firm has died down and you're left feeling very overwhelmed. And that could be because as your firm has grown, it's become a lot more complex. Clients are perhaps quite demanding. You spend a lot of time responding to clients through email, phone call, etc. And often firms that are at that point are starting to experience low profitability as well. So that higher profitability that you have when you start your firm and you're running really lean, that high profitability starts to reduce as the firm grows and becomes more complex and you need to take on more resources and expenses. So if that's how you're feeling, if you're feeling overwhelmed by the demands of your firm currently, then I think this strategy will be for you. So a lot of my clients who I start working with initially and they are feeling overwhelmed, I find that it's more often than not due to a lack of boundaries with clients. A lack of boundaries with clients and with staff, but I'm not going to talk about staff in this video. That's a topic for another day. In this video, I'm talking about boundaries with clients. Now, I have experienced this myself. So when I was growing my law firm, the initial, I suppose, buzz of it wore off and the reality set in. And I was feeling very overwhelmed, and the overwhelm was largely coming from the constant client questions, requests, demands that just came from everywhere all the time. And so I went through the steps that I'm going to take you through in this video to find my joy in the business again. And at the time that I was feeling this way, that the firm kind of plateaued, and it wasn't until I put some boundaries in place with my clients for both myself and my team that we were able to continue on our growth path. So in terms of setting boundaries with your clients, it really starts with onboarding. And what I find with onboarding, when I talk about onboarding with lawyers, with law firm owners, and immigration firm owners, is that you want to jump straight to automating your onboarding and streamlining your onboarding instead of understanding what you need to communicate to your client as part of your onboarding process to set your lawyer-client relationship up for success. So, in order to sort out your onboarding process, to set clear boundaries and set your relationship with your client up for success, it doesn't start with technology. That comes in further down the track. It starts with understanding what your dream firm looks like. So what is this firm that you're building? What does it look like? You need to understand that in order to figure out what your boundaries are. Now, off the top of your head, you may know some boundaries that you have for your clients that you need to communicate to them. And if you do, that's great. Often I talk to law firm owners who are not quite sure even what their boundaries should be, other than maybe one or two obvious ones. So the starting point is really to understand what your dream firm looks like. Now, there's a few different factors in figuring out what your dream firm looks like, but the two key ones that will help you figure out what your boundaries for your clients are is, number one is income. So in your dream firm, how much income does your firm pay you? And number two is, what are the hours per day and per week that you want to work? Okay, so figure out those two things first. And then once you've got a list of those, or you've got a clear vision of the income that you want to earn, this is your dream income, and your dream hours, then figure out what boundaries you need to set to move you towards creating this dream firm that's fun, it's highly profitable, because high profit and fun equal sustainable. So once you've figured out what your dream income is and what your dream hours are, then sit down and have a think about, well, what boundaries do you need to have and communicate to your clients in order to make this dream firm a reality for you? So, for example, if you want to reduce your hours from perhaps the 50 or 60 hours per week, and you want to work 30 hours per week, you want to work sort of 9 till 5, Monday through to Thursday. Okay, those are the hours that you want to work. Then you need to communicate that to your clients to make sure that they are not contacting you or expecting a response from you outside of those hours. So that's an example. So that's step one, right? It's really understanding that you're the architect of your own success and your dream firm. And to build your dream firm, this fabulous firm that you know you can build, you're not there yet, but you know you can create it. You need to get clear on the boundaries and expectations you need to set with your clients. Step two is, in terms of your onboarding process, think about your first meeting with a new client or a potential new client. So setting really clear expectations and boundaries for that initial meeting, whether it's on Zoom, whether it's in person, is a really good way to set the relationship up for success and get off on the right foot. So, for example, if a client contacts you with an inquiry, or a potential client contacts you with an inquiry, and you set up a meeting, send them an email that clearly sets out, the time, that you expect them to be on time. If you do, what will happen if they're not? Obviously, you're communicating these things kindly. If you need them to park their car in a certain place, if you need them to bring certain information and certain documents to that initial client meeting, then make sure that you are communicating that to them. So get off on the right foot with the client, set the relationship up for success by making sure that you're setting clear boundaries and expectations for that initial client meeting. So from the get-go, make it really clear what you expect from them. So that's step two. Step three, in terms of your onboarding process, you will send your clients a proposal or a letter of engagement or a cost agreement, whatever it is that you call it. My strong recommendation, and this is something that I train my clients on and get them to do and I coach them around, is send your clients a client promise. Okay, now you can call it whatever you want. I call mine a client promise. I've also called it a client charter in the past, but a client promise or a client charter is a one-page document that you attach to your letter of engagement or cost agreement or whatever it is that you send to your clients. And it's really got two columns. And the first column is what your clients can expect of you as their lawyer or migration agent. And the second column is what you expect from them. Okay, so this is not all about what they can expect from you, which is usually how we go about a sort of an onboarding and client engagement. It needs to be win-win. It needs to go both ways. It needs to work well for both parties. So this client charter or client promise is a document that sets out a client's expectations of you, of what your clients can expect of you, and what you expect of them. So this is where you set your boundaries. This is where you make it really clear what your hours are and when they can contact you. And if they need to contact you outside of those hours, what are their options? Maybe there are none. Maybe they just have to wait till Monday. Maybe there's somebody else they can talk to. But make it really clear how that works. Protect your time. This is the way that you will grow to the next stage. This is the way that you'll get your firm from 6 figures to 7 figures if that is your goal. You can also make it really clear around what your turnaround times are around responses. So what they can expect from you in terms of when you'll get back to them, and also what you expect from them. So if you email them and ask for information, you can make it really clear in what time period you need that information back, because we've all been there where we've sent documents to clients for signing and they don't do it, and it starts to make life for us really stressful, particularly if there's a deadline looming. So making really clear deadlines and clear expectations and clear boundaries around those sorts of things is really important. Also around payment. That'll probably be set out in your cost agreement or your letter of engagement, but just making it clear again in really plain language in your client promise what you expect from them around payment and what will happen if they are late in paying their bill. If you're going to stop working for them, then just remind them of that in there and make it clear. So that's the third step there. The next step is to regularly review your client charter or your client promise with your team. So on a monthly basis, or quarterly at the very least, review your client charter and the boundaries that are set out there, and see if anything needs to shift or change. Perhaps something is not working particularly well and you need to amend it. Perhaps by reviewing it, you'll identify where some clients are overstepping and they're not respecting your boundaries as a law firm owner and as a business. And so that will help you to identify that, because what happens is, we set boundaries fairly regularly in life, and over time, just with how things go, boundaries get stepped on, and sometimes we don't even notice because we're busy, right? But with a regular review, you will see where things are getting out of alignment, and you can pull them back, or you can change and evolve them to make them more in line with what you need from this season in your life. And then the last step is where you see that particular clients are not respecting your boundaries or are overstepping, then reaching out to them with love and kindness and having a courageous conversation around where they're overstepping a boundary is going to be really important. And one of the best ways to do that is to send them the client charter, because I can't remember if I said this earlier, but the client charter or the client promise, which is the document that you're sending with your letter of engagement or costs agreement, get them to sign it. Okay, you sign it, get them to sign it, and then if they do overstep a boundary, or if they are not acting in alignment with that client promise, send them a copy and just say, hey, remember, this is what we agreed, and currently you're contacting me outside of hours. Just a reminder that this is our agreement and this is what I expect from you. And say it with kindness and with love, and 9 times out of 10 you will get exactly what it is that you want, and the client will step into line. Clients like to know what you expect of them and what you can, they like to know how things work. They like things to be clear. They like clarity. So by being really clear on your boundaries, you're giving them the clarity that they actually want. You're not being rude. You're not being demanding. You're just being clear about how you need your business to run, to work for you and for them. So having those courageous conversations regularly and clearly with clients who are overstepping is really important. Before I finish this video, I just wanted to mention a client of mine has taken the client promise or the client charter concept even further. And they have actually created a video course for their clients on how to be a good client for their law firm. So they actually train their clients on their boundaries and the things that they need from their clients in order for a successful relationship. And they have a series of videos, I think it's 3 or 4 videos on how to be a good client. And the clients absolutely love it. They love to know what to expect. They love that the relationship is being set up as a win-win, being set up for success. So there you go. There's another option around the client charter or the client promise. If you prefer to get on video, then record a video or a series of videos for your clients that will walk them through what your boundaries are and what your expectations are of them as a good client. All right, thanks for listening. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.